Namaste everyone, my name is Russ Thompson. Thank you so much for joining me for today's yoga class. This class is suitable for all levels of practitioners, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced practitioner. This class is going to be great for you. For today's class, I highly recommend you bring a few props with you, such as 2 yoga blocks and a strap. If you don't have 2 yoga blocks, some substitutes for those items would be books or like packaging boxes would be great. And if you don't have a yoga strap at home, a long hand towel, a resistance band, or a belt will suffice. So anyway, once again, before we start, as always, we're merely holding shapes, but always listen to your body. We never want to force anything when it comes to yoga. We want to feel like we're opening certain things with the body, but we never want to feel like we're hurting ourselves. So don't overdo it. Just listen to your body, and we'll have a great time. So and also before we get started, if you would like to modify this today's practice sitting in a chair, some of the poses that we will be doing can be modified by using a chair, whether it's seated or standing by one. But anyway, first before we get it started is we're going to sit in a nice, comfortable seated position. It could be Sukhasana, which is easy pose. If you hear me say a term that's not in English, it's called Sanskrit, which is an Indian dialect that we use in the yoga world. You can also hold hero pose, anything that's a nice comfortable seat. You can even sit on a prop if you like, especially if you have low back issues before we get started. So just take a few moments just to kind of find a comfortable seat. Maybe even once you find your seat, kind of close the eyes. And yoga starts from the ground up, so from here, maybe try to see if we're sitting evenly on our seat. So our sit bones are, again, those bony things in your bottom. Make sure those are nice and even. Maybe even trying to engage the core. And engaging the core means sucking your belly button towards your low back to activate your abdominals, obliques, and low back, which is essentially the core is a band around the body. And then maybe even lengthening up to the crown of the head so that your vertebrae, which are those bony things along your spine, can lengthen so we have a nice, good posture. And good, wherever you are, we'll sigh the breath out, Asana, let it go. Good, deep breath, inhale. On inhales, I like to count to beats of 4, and also on the exhales, beats of 4 as well. So for 1, 2, 3, 4 on your inhalation. Exhale, sigh it out. Good. Now, anytime you want to exhale the mouth, feel free to do so, especially if you have any allergies or breathing issues. But if you're able to, predominantly for the majority of this practice, we like to use what we call our Ujjayi breath, or as I like to call it, like fire breathing or Darth Vader breathing. So the difference is that the inhales and exhales are on 4 counts, but on the exhale, try to keep your lips sealed and send the breath straight down towards your pelvis. So you're not letting the breath, the belly puff out on the exhale. You're sending it straight down towards your pelvis. So think of the breath going up and down like an elevator shaft. And by doing this, by using your Ujjayi breath, it'll create more heat in your system, so it'll keep your heart rate down at a more calm level. But by adding more heat in your system, you'll be able to get more deeper into some of our poses today. So again, try your best to use Ujjayi as best as possible. But if you need to exhale out of the mouth, either you can do a full exhale or maybe make a little bit of a peephole for the lips. And as we're breathing here and sitting here for a few more moments, yoga isn't just about holding shapes. It's also about becoming more humble, more spiritual, more understanding of certain things. And maybe even making an intention to someone special in your life, or someone or something, such as maybe as a family member, friend, neighbor, first responders. Just take a few more moments, follow the breath, and just be in this present moment. Deep breath, inhale, or just sigh the breath out when you're ready. Good, nice deep inhale. Exhale, let it out. Blink the eyes open. All right, so from here what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna just take a nice little supine twist in our seat. I'm gonna turn my body around a little bit here so you can see better. So what's gonna happen here is that you're going to take your left hand to the outer edge of your right thigh. The right hand's gonna go reach the back part of your mat. Now from here, we're gonna take a little bit of an easy twist, but from here, we never twist with our shoulders, we twist with that core, the band I was talking about earlier. So engage the core, draw the navel to the low back, pressing down and away into the back part of the mat to get more length in your spine. And on every inhale, we're gonna lengthen up through the crown of the head a little bit more. And every exhale, twist with the core, lightly press into the right leg and twist. Good. Inhale, bring the gaze back to the front part of your mat. And exhale, gently unwind. We're gonna do the same thing second side. So do the right hand to the outer edge of the left leg. Press down away the back part of the mat with the left hand. So you lengthen up the crown of the head on every inhale, and every exhale, gently twist. And we don't wanna force anything. We just want a nice, settled, easy twist. We don't wanna, we're not like the Tasmanian devil or a tornado. We're merely just getting a little openness here. Good. Your inhale, bring the gaze back to neutral. And exhale, release the bind. Before we move on to hands and knees, we're just gonna work a little bit with the core here. So what's gonna happen is that we're gonna find Badakhanasana, or bound angle pose. Okay, so we're gonna hold here for a couple breaths. This is kind of a nice hip opener here. And then we're gonna add a little bit of core work here. So on every inhale, we're gonna move into what we call Shavasana, which is called boat pose. And every exhale, we'll come back to Badakhanasana. So we're gonna do a round of 5. And now when we hold Shavasana, which is boat pose, you can modify that by holding on the backs of the legs. This way it takes a little bit more pressure off the low back. So if you have back issues, I highly recommend moving into the modified variation of the pose. So here we go, round of 5. Inhale, Shavasana. Exhale, Badakhanasana. Inhale, Shavasana. Exhale, Badakhanasana. Really engage the core when we're holding these poses. Inhale, Shavasana. Exhale, Badakhanasana. Inhale, Shavasana. Exhale, Badakhanasana. Last one, here we go. Inhale, Shavasana. Exhale, Badakhanasana, and give yourself a nice little shake. Good. Now we'll just sigh the breath out, 8-shot sound. Good. At any time, once again, before we move into to tabletop position here, at any time you feel like you need to take a child's pose, an extra drink of water or rest, feel free to do so. This is your practice, I'm merely your guide, okay? All right, so from here what we're going to do is come up to all fours, so tabletop position. So tabletop position, basically we're taking shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. So when in doubt, when it comes to holding any of our poses today or doing any health or fitness related activity, when in doubt, joint lines on top of joint. All right, so from here we're gonna move into what we call cat-cow. So on your next inhale, Your gaze is going to be slightly ahead of your tailbone, is going to lift up to the ceiling. Now you're actually going to press down, chin to chest, tucking around. Arching the back like a cat. Inhale, moving into cow. Exhale, press down away, chin to chest, tucking around. So take a few more rounds of this just like that on your own. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you're moving. Do what feels best for you and your body. Good. So from here, find a flat back, and we'll just, before moving downward for our first downward facing dog, let's just take a child's pose, just to remind ourselves, so knees splay out, big toes touch. You need to take the arms back behind you. If you have shoulder issues, that's fine. But from here, just kind of come here, just reminding yourself that any time during your practice, if you do need to take a rest, you rest. Good, on your next inhale, come up to tabletop. And exhale, tuck the back toes, knees lift, downward facing dog. So in down dog, don't worry if your heels aren't quite touching the floor. They may touch later in the practice. And if not today, there's always tomorrow. Because again, yoga is about the journey, not the destination. And while you're here, maybe you want to lift one heel off the floor at a time. Perhaps give your head a shake, yes or no. And if you have low back issues or tight hamstrings, you may want to take your feet as wide as your mat. Good. Now from here, what we're going to do is if you did bring your feet mat distance apart, we'll bring it back to hip. And then we're going to do a little core work and stretching here with our hips as well. So the right leg's going to lift up on inhale. Really reach back with the right heel. Now your exhale, the leg out to your left. Maybe look underneath the right armpit. Three-legged dog. If this is not in your practice, feel free to take hands and knees or come back up to down dog. Your choice. You can modify any way you like. So again, hold it. If you did go to the three-legged dog, holding here for 3, 2, 1. On your next inhale, take the leg back. And then exhale, right knee, right tricep. So moving your body into like a plank position. Inhale, kicks the leg back. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders over wrist, curl, curl, curl. And then listen carefully, land the shin down. Make sure your blocks are by you here as we're gonna hold half pigeon for a few breaths. So I like holding, especially, so we're not going to full pigeon here. We're merely just going into half pigeon with blocks because it's beginning of practice, and using the blocks underneath your shoulders here will help protect your low back. Okay, so just kind of pressing up, just getting a little bit more openness in the hips. Maybe lengthen out that back leg a little bit if you can. Draw the navel to the low back as well to protect the core. Good. So from here we're going to tuck the back toes, back knee lifts, downward facing dog. We're going to do the same thing second side. So the left leg will lift, inhale, reach back with the left heel. Now on the exhale, left heel to glute, keep the leg out. And again, as I mentioned earlier, for those of you who would just like to rather keep the leg out, you can keep here, find down dog, come to hands and knees, your choice. If you did take the leg out to your left, hold there for 3, 2, 1. Lengthen the leg out to inhale. Exhale, left knee, left tricep. Inhale, kicks you back. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders over wrist, curl, curl, curl. Shin behind the hands, half pigeon pose. Now you may be more open on one side or than the other. About 90% of the human population has one hip that's more open than the other here, so if you're closed more on one side, it's okay. So forget to breathe. And use that Ujjayi breath if you can. Good. From here, we're going to take the back toes, front leg lifts, downward facing dog. Good. Bend the knees, inhale. And then exhale, walk step hop to the front of your mat, staying low. And staying low here for a moment. Now from here, what we're going to do is this. Try to stay low, and we're going to move into what we call football stance. So what's going to happen is that you're going to place your hand down on the floor so your face is lined up with the hand below, and then you're trying to line your hips up with your knees, okay, as best as possible. So try to line up the hips with knees as best as possible here. And from here, we're going to then release the bind, bring the feet back together, and we're going to hold Uttanasana, or standing forward fold. So it might be nice just to kind of grab onto opposite elbows, maybe wrap the arms around the legs, maybe get the head to shake yes or no. From here, we'll take our hands to hips, come up one vertebrae at a time. And the crown of the head will be the last thing that comes up to the ceiling. All right. So from here, we're going to move into, come up to what we call Tadasana, or mountain pose. So mountain pose essentially is the blueprint of all standing poses. And try to find equal weight into your feet. Maybe even check in with your breath. Maybe even if you did make an intention, check in with your intention for today. Good. Sigh the breath out. H-ah sound. Let go. Deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. Let it out. Blink the eyes open. Okay, so from here we're going to do a little bit of half sun salutation work. So from here what's going to happen is this. So we're going to sit on the top of your mat. On your next inhale, you're going to take the arms up and overhead. And on your exhale, you're going to lengthen from the hips, not the waist. So not where your belly button lies, but your hip points. You're going to fold forward. If you have tight hamstrings, feel free to bend the knees, okay? Melt the chest towards the upper thighs. Then inhale, Ardha, halfway lift, so the crown of the head lengthens forward, the shoulder blades shift back. Then exhale and fold. Press up to rise, coming all the way up. Hands come to heart center. Okay, we're gonna do that one more time, so inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, lengthen out and fold forward. Inhale, Ardha, halfway lift. Fold forward, exhale. Press up to rise, coming all the way up. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Go ahead, adding a touch more movement now. So inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Then exhale, make your way into either plank pose or tabletop position. Okay, now your next inhale, shift the body an inch forward, and lower all the way down with control on the exhale. Okay, so we're going to move into what we call Sphinx Pose. So Sphinx Pose, we're going to take our essentially make it number 11 with our forearms. Okay, and then from here we're going to press up through our forearms and really engage our core. So navel to low back. So we're getting a nice low back stretch here. Now, for those of you who if you would like to stay here, we're going to be here for about another 5 breaths. So if you like to stay here, feel free to stay here. But for those of you who want a little bit more intensity, We're gonna move into what we call forearm plank. You can modify it by even making it a triangle shape with your hands to kind of modify it, or keep the number 11s going with your forearms. So we'll tuck the back toes, knees lift, but again, if you want to stay in Sphinx, please do so. So really energize the legs, navel to low back, and just look past the front part of your mat. Good, hold for 3, 2, and if you did go to forearm plank, lower back down. Good. And we'll sigh the breath out, H-off sound. Good, deep breath, inhale. Exhale, let it out. All right, from here we're gonna take our hands to our rib cage. Now your choice, you can either A, press your way up to tabletop and then shift back to downward facing dog, or energize the legs and core, press your way up to plank, shift back, down dog. Bend the knees, inhale. Exhale, walk, step, hop to the front of your mat, stay low. Inhale, halfway lift. Fold forward, exhale. Press separate your eyes, coming all the way up. Hands come to heart center. Okay, so I would recommend if you may need your blocks for this next series, so keep your blocks standing maybe to the top corners of your mat. All right, so here we go. On your next inhale with the arms up. Exhale and fold forward. Inhale, arm that halfway lift. And then the right foot stays forward, left leg goes back. We'll just drop the back knee here for a moment. So if you want, we're gonna take a little bit of a lunge series. So if you like to stay modified here, feel free to keep the back knee down to the floor. For those of you who would like to tuck the back toes so the back knee lifts, you can move into a more of a runner's lunge here, or a low lunge here. And then what's gonna happen here is try to send the right hip back to the wall behind you. So take the right thumb to right hip, just to gently draw the hip back so we're square. And like I said earlier, if you'd rather use the blocks to kind of help give more stability, and you can. This, from here though, if you do use the blocks, try not to throw all the weight into the hands. Keep the hands nice and light, okay? Good. So whether you did or did not use the blocks, okay, and again, you can use the back, drop the back knee if you want to, but we're gonna hold here for 3, 2, 1. Now listen carefully, your left hand's gonna come to the floor, and then twist from the core, not the shoulders, but the right arm's gonna go up. We're gonna go into an easy twist. Okay, twist with the core, breathe. Hold for 3, 2, 1. The top hand will come down, and your choice, you can either A, move into downward facing dog, or B, take what we call a vinyasa or chaturanga. And you can modify this by dropping the knees to the floor and moving into a Cobra series, or again, moving to the height of the elbows in a plank pose, going up through an upward facing dog, and then exhale, downward facing dog. And real quick, for those of you who are interested in Cobra, for those of you who are more beginners, you can watch me here for a moment, but for those of you who are intermediate advanced, feel free to hold down dog for a few more moments while I explain this. Cobra is essentially when you're here, so you would melt down to the knees, come down to the floor, and then, so your hands are by your rib cage, and you lightly lift with the chest on an inhale, and then your exhale, you lengthen out and lower down. So you're getting length in the spine. So if you modify, you can kind of come up to Cobra, press up, and then shift back downward facing dog. It's just an option. Good. Right leg is from here, right leg lifts, inhale. And then exhale, knee to nose, shoulders over wrist, curl, curl, curl. Foot comes between the hands, back knee to the floor. On an inhale, lift the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands down, back foot meets the front foot. Inhale, halfway lift. Fold forward as you exhale. Press upwards, rise, coming all the way up. Hands come to heart center. All right, second side, here we go. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, lengthen and fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And on the exhale, left leg remains forward, right leg kicks back, back knee to the floor, okay? So, again, reminder, you can stay here if you want, which is no problem at all, okay? Or for those of you who are able to, again, with or without blocks, put the back toes, back knee lifts, find runner's lunge, or low lunge. Maybe you take that left thumb to left hip crease to square the hips. Good, and from here, whether you have the back knee to the floor or not, place the right hand right underneath the right shoulder, twist with the core, easy twist. Good, hold for 3. And again, if you have neck pain in this, look to the side or to the floor. 2, 1, top hand down, downward facing dog, or take a vinyasa if you like, your choice. The left leg lifts, inhale, reach the heel back, activate the hamstring, and then exhale, knee to nose, shoulders over wrist, curl, 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 foot between the hands, back knee down. One breath, one motion here. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale, hands down, back foot meets the front foot. Inhale, halfway lift. Fold forward, exhale. Press up to rise, coming all the way up. Hands come to heart center. All right, let's get some water if you need it. Take a child's pose. If you really want a little bit more intensity, feel free to take another Surya Namaskar A or Vinyasa, Vinyasa if you like. Go to down dog, your choice. If you did take down dog, when you're ready, please walk, sip, or hop to the front of your mats. For those of you who remain standing and just get some water, or wherever you are, we'll grab one of our blocks, and you're going to kind of place it. You can place it at the front of your mat. I'm going to do it at the side so you get a little bit of a better understanding of what we're going to do here. We're going to take a little bit of a wide-legged forward fold with a twist. So what's going to happen is that you're going to take your feet, we're going to pull what we call star pose. Now star pose is really cool or is a great tool to help you as far as figuring out how wide your stride should be, especially when we hold like different standing poses like Warrior 1, Warrior 2, Triangle, etc. So we know we're properly in our star shape without our wrists being over our ankles, okay? So right around that ballpark is technically right where we should be. Now, from here, what's going to happen is when you look over, okay, so the block should just be kind of like when we were holding football stance earlier. You should be looking right over the block. Now, for some of you, you may not need the block if you have really open hamstrings, but for some folks, you can turn the block this is more like for easy, medium, hard, and then no block is obviously if you've been practicing for years, or you have if maybe you haven't been practicing for years, you just have open hamstrings. But what's going to happen here is this. I'm going to set the block to the highest level, just to keep things basic and simple for today. But what you're going to do is you're going to press hard into the block. So you're hinging forward with your hips. You're lengthening out. So kind of like when we did our half sun salutations. Lengthen the crown of the head out, shift the shoulder blades back, okay? Now from here, we're gonna twist with the core, but before we twist with the core, you're gonna press down hard into your prop. And then take your right hand to your low back. So the low back, so by doing that, you kind of feel which way your hips are swaying. You want to try to make sure to get your hips as on an even playing field as possible. Okay, now from here, once you feel like your hips are balanced, you're gonna take your right arm out to the side. Okay, so your shoulder lines up with wrist. And then engage the core, you're gonna press hard on the block, and then you're gonna tick-tock all the way up, so the right hand will revolve up to the ceiling. And if this is too much on the right shoulder, feel free to take the right hand to the low back. Good, deep breath, inhale. And then exhale, your top hand will come down and give yourself a little bit of a shake. Good. We're gonna do the same thing second side, so the right hand is gonna come to the block this time. And then feel how, again, make sure that the hips are relatively balanced. Navel to low back, really protect the core. And then your choice, you can either keep the left hand where it is, or extend that left arm out to the side. So left arm lines up with left shoulder, left wrist lines up with left shoulder, and then maybe tick-tock and press up to the ceiling. Twisting with the core, breathe. Use that Ujjayi breath. Good, deep breath, inhale. And exhale, lower the hand down to the floor. Okay, so from here what we're going to do is we're going to take our hands to hips. We're going to press up nice and smooth. Now for those of you who would like to, you're more than welcome to take a vinyasa here or go straight to downward facing dog. Otherwise what we're going to do is you're going to remain in your star pose here, and we're going to turn the right foot forward, and the left foot's gonna kind of come onto, you're gonna come on the ball of your back foot. Now, if you have a toe issue or anything like that, you can seal the back heel down, and you're gonna find warrior 1 foot here. So anyway, when we take warrior stand or anything like triangle, ideally your front heel will line up with your back heel or back inner arch. Okay, so as long as you're within the strike zone, inner arch or heel, that's fine. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to turn your back quadricep in, okay? Keep everything nice and balanced. So again, you can either seal the back heel down, energize the leg, or come on the ball of the back foot. You can also drop the back knee to the floor to modify, okay? So really engage the core. You can use blocks, anything you like. It's your practice, remember that, all right? Okay, here we go. So from here, if you did take a vinyasa, remember the right foot's going to come forward, and again, find crescent lunge or warrior 1. Okay, again, modify by dropping the knees back beneath the floor. And then from here, we're going to take a little bit of an easy twist from here, or not an easy twist, but a modified version of twisted lunge. So what's going to happen is you're going to engage the core, and I know this may seem a little awkward, but your right arm's going to point forward, the left arm's going to go back. And if you're able to, maybe look to the wall behind you. Relax your shoulders and the ears, reach the fingers. If you look to the wall behind you, roll the chin down, come up for crescent lunge and an inhale, and then exhale, we're gonna seal the back heel down, we're gonna go right into Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2 pose. Relax the shoulders and the ears, reach those fingers, smile, and we're only holding shapes. Gauge the core, and then from here we're going to bring the front leg to a micro bend. Now from here, what's going to happen is, so micro bend means we're not totally locking the front knee joint, we're kind of bending the joint a little bit, like a centimeter or so, just so it's essentially 99.5% straight, but we're just protecting the fluidity of the joint. We want to keep our joints nice and healthy for as long as possible. Okay, so we're going to take what we call reverse triangle. So the right palm's going to turn up, inhale, then lightly touch the back leg, or the back leg with the back hand, left hand, and reach up for reverse triangle. Take a deep breath, inhale, and then we're going to transfer into Triconasana, triangle pose. So from here, the right arm's going to pitch forward, the left hip pitches back, and the right hand can come to a block or to the floor. And then you're pressing up to the ball of the right foot, so the top hand is nice and light. Now, my personal preference is hands to the outer edge of the foot, but if you want to keep it on the inner part of the foot, that's fine. Okay? If you have a neck issue, like I mentioned earlier when we were holding one of our earlier poses, you can look to the side or to the floor, but ideally try to look to the ceiling, but no pressure whatsoever. Deep breath up, in. As we come all the way back up to stand. And yogi's choice. From here, you can bend the front knee. You can bend the front knee and windmill the hands down and go into a down dog or chaturanga. Or what we're going to do is we're going to just do the same thing but switch sides. So you're going to pivot your feet to the back part of the mat here, and we're going to find again your choice, either warrior one. Okay, so the back toes point to the back top right corner of your mat, or if you're able to, crescent lunge. And again, remember, you can always take the knees to the floor, back knee to the floor to modify this. So again, your choice with whatever variation you do decide to take. Good, hold for 3, 2, now listen carefully, we're going to take that different variation of a twisted lunge. So the right arm points forward, the left arm goes back, and twist at the core. Maybe you're able to look to the wall behind you. If you look to the wall behind you, draw the chin to chest, roll the arms up, inhale, crescent lunge, exhale, warrior 2. Good. Inhale, bring the front leg to a micro bend. Okay? And we're going to find that reverse triangle here. So again, engage the core, keep everything nice and balanced. Okay? Left palm comes up, inhale, reverse triangle, exhale. Deep breath here. And then exhale, we're going to transfer up into Triconasana, triangle pose. So left arm reaches forward, right hip back. And then the left hand, again, can go to a block or to the floor. Right arm pops up. Again, really pressing to the ball of the front foot. Keep the top arm nice and light. Good to breathe. And good. When you're ready from here, we will come up to stand. For those of you who would like to take an extra vinyasa or downward facing dog, feel free to do so. We're now going to move more into our cool down stage. We're going to take what we call a Pigeon series. So from here you have options. Option 1 is you're going to find your way where the right foot will come forward into half pigeon, so the right shin will come to the floor. So half pigeon, which was that pose we took at the beginning of class with the blocks underneath our hands for stability. You can take that pose. Option 2 is if you can move from half pigeon into what we call single pigeon, which essentially is so half pigeon. So this is half pigeon, okay? And then from here you walk the arms forward and hold, lengthening the back leg back. Option 3, double pigeon, which is, if you're able to, you're essentially stacking knees on top of joints. Okay, so knees over ankles. Okay, Okay, so that's another option. But the option I'm going to show you guys today, the more modified variation, is thread the needle. So thread the needle is essentially pigeon on your back. So pigeon on your back, all you're going to be doing here, again, any variation that you feel like you can, go for it. Just don't ever force anything. Don't listen to your body. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to take the right ankle by the left knee, and you're going to lift the left foot off the floor, flex both sets of feet towards your kneecaps, take the right hand in between the little triangle shape you've made with your legs, and gently pull. So you're on the left hamstring, gently being the key word. And we're never going to force anything. And again, like I mentioned at the beginning of practice, one hip may be more tighter than the other. So just breathe. The reason why we flex our toes, and even if you're in half pigeon or single pigeon, the reason why we flex our front, especially on the floor on the shin, their front leg, especially for half pigeon or single pigeon, just to open up the knee and open up the hamstrings. So we're going to hold, no matter what pose you're in, we're going to hold for 3, 2, and listen carefully. For those of you who were in thread the needle pose, the pose I was just holding, you can either remain on the floor or take it and switch legs. Same thing for double pigeon, switch legs or go to down dog. Or for those of you who were in single pigeon, okay? Again, the right leg wasn't forward. You can whichever leg was forward, you're going to first turn the back toes back and he lifts, and then find down dog. But now again, if the right leg wasn't forward, we're gonna do the same thing on the second side. I am gonna show thread the needle again on the second side, but you can safely get into pigeon. Again, we lift the left leg up on an inhale, and then exhale, knee to nose, shin behind the hands, and hold. Now again, you can use half pigeon and lower down, okay, with or without blocks. Double pigeon, or like what I'm going to be showing for today is thread the needle. Okay, so for those of you who are on your seat or your back, your options are to make your way onto your backs, or what you'll do is, for those of you who did take half pigeon or single pigeon, okay, if you were in single pigeon, you're going to walk the hands back up to half pigeon, to the back toes, front leg lifts, last downward facing dog of the day. And if you want to take a vinyasa, you're more than welcome to do so. And for those of you who do decide to take down dog, we'll bend the knees on your inhale, and exhale, walk, step, hop to the front of your mats, and you'll make your way onto your back as well. And it might feel nice, before we move into our final rest, we're going to take a little bit of a supine twist on both sides. So really hug the knees to chest, rock from side to side. Maybe take the legs out to your right, then maybe take the arms out to a T shape. Okay, so try to stack the knees on top of one knee on top of the other. And then since our knees are going to the right, if you have a healthy enough neck, look over the left shoulder. Otherwise, look up to the ceiling. next inhale, bring the knees to neutral. And exhale, switch sides. Again, if you're able to look over up to the ceiling, that's fine if you haven't helped it, but if you, or I should say, if you're able to look over the right shoulder, please do so. Otherwise, look up to the ceiling if you have a neck issue. Good. Your next inhale, bring the knees to neutral. And then take a variation of happy baby. So maybe it's just one variation, it's just hugging knees to chest. Another variation, a modified variation is interlacing the hands behind the thighs and gently pressing into the forearms, flexing the toes. And for those of you who are able to, maybe grab the soles of the feet, as long as the tailbone reaches the floor, and then draw the knees towards the ears. And when you're ready, you'll slowly, when you're ready, take your time. You're going to make our way into our final rest, which is Shavasana, corpse pose. But I give also other options. Option one is corpse pose, so you're going to kind of just lie on your backs like so in a restful state. Option two, if you know how to properly move into Viparita Karani, which is legs up the wall, where you take one hip to the wall and you swing the legs up to the wall, allowing blood draining down from your feet towards your knees and hips, legs and hips, that's fine. Or if you'd like to sit in a comfortable seated position, maybe it's easy seated pose, hero pose, anything like that, that's completely fine. So I'll give you a few moments to settle in, find your whatever option you're going to choose. And wherever you are, relax the face, the jaw, fingers, toes. And just sigh the breath out, HA sound. Deep breath, inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. Shavasana. Begin to increase the breath. Now, if you would like to remain in your restorative state, feel free to do so. Feel free to stay there as long as you like. But for those of you who would like to come out, start to bring a little bit of movement to your body, awareness to your body. Maybe take thumb to fingertips, wiggle the toes. And if you are on your back, you'll hug knees to chest, rock from side to side, and then eventually make your way up to seat. And if you are able to keep the eyes closed, feel free to do so, but if it feels weird or awkward, you can open the eyes. once you've come up to a comfortable, easy seated position of Sukhasana, we'll take our hands to heart center and bow the chin down for gratitude. Thank you all very much for letting me facilitate your practice today. And again, just continue to build upon your practice, not only on the mat, but also off the mat as well. And as yogis, I like to call ourselves as spiritual warriors, which basically means that we're strong, confident people who also like to do the right things in life, which is doing the right thing by helping one another, because yoga means union, or a community of people. So by helping others, maybe it's something as small as helping a neighbor with a project, or just saying a friendly hello to someone at the store, or holding the door open for someone at the gas station. Small acts of kindness can go a long way, and it can catapult us in a positive direction so that we all may live in a better place. May all beings everywhere know love and peace. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste.